Picture this: a world where the dead walk, the living flee, and civilization crumbles, all because of a single bite. Zombies. They've haunted our nightmares, dominated our screens, and sparked endless debates. But here's the kicker: could they actually exist? Is there real science behind The Walking Dead, or is it all just Hollywood smoke and mirrors? Stick around, because we're about to rip open the biology of zombies like a fresh brain on a zombie's plate. Welcome to Watch Science, the place where we dig into the wild, the weird, and the what-ifs of science. Today we're tackling a question that's been gnawing at us for decades. Could zombies be real? Not the metaphorical, I haven't had coffee yet. Zombies, but the flesh-eating, apocalypse-bringing kind. We're diving into neuroscience, virology, parasitology, and more to find out if the undead could ever shamble into reality. So grab your survival kit and let's get started. Before we can figure out if zombies could exist, we need to know what we're talking about. What is a zombie? If you're picturing a rotting corpse with a taste for brains, you're not alone. That's the classic George Romero vibe from 1968's Night of the Living Dead. But zombies have a richer history than that. In Haitian folklore, zombies were corpses reanimated by a sorcerer called a bokor, forced to toil mindlessly in the fields. Creepy, right? Fast forward to today, and pop culture has given us a new breed: virus-driven zombies. Think The Walking Dead or Resident Evil. People infected by a pathogen that turns them into aggressive, mindless monsters, spreading the chaos one bite at a time. For this video, we're focusing on that modern take: zombies as living humans transformed by an infection. Why? Because it's the most scientifically plausible angle. So our mission is clear: could a virus, parasite, or some freaky biological twist turn us into the Walking Dead? To answer that, we'll break it down into three big questions. 1. Reanimation. Can the dead really rise? 2. Mind control. Could something hijack our brains and make us zombie-like? 3. Outbreak. Could it spread fast enough to end the world? Let's kick things off with the creepiest part: bringing the dead back to life. In zombie lore, the dead don't stay dead. Graves burst open, corpses shamble out, and chaos ensues. But could science make that happen? Let's talk about death. There are two types. Clinical death. When your heart stops pumping blood, and biological death. When your cells start dying from lack of oxygen. Modern medicine can sometimes reverse clinical death. Think CPR, defibrillators, or those dramatic movie scenes where the doctor yells, "Clear!" But once biological death hits, it's a different story. The brain is the real diva here. It needs oxygen like we need Wi-Fi. Cut it off for 5 to 10 minutes, and brain cells start dying. That damage is permanent with today's tech. No oxygen, no brain function, no shambling around eating your neighbour. So reanimating a fully dead body seems like a long shot. But wait, science has some tricks up its sleeve. In 2019, researchers at Yale University pulled off something straight out of a sci-fi thriller. They took pig brains from a slaughterhouse, hooked them up to a system called Brain X, and pumped in a special fluid. Hours after death, they restored some cellular functions: metabolism, immune responses, even some drug reactivity. The brains didn't wake up, and the pigs weren't walking around, but it showed that death might not be as final as we think. Still, there's a catch, or a dozen. Even if you could restart the brain, the rest of the body's a mess. Muscles decay, organs shut down, and bacteria start munching on you from the inside. A reanimated corpse wouldn't last long before it's just a pile of goo. Plus coordinating movement. That's a whole other challenge. Your nervous system would need a miracle reboot. So, classic undead zombies, probably not happening. But what if we tweak the script? In movies like 28 Days Later, zombies aren't dead, they're alive, just infected. That shifts the game from reanimation to transformation. Could something take a living person and turn them into a mindless monster? Let's look at nature's creepiest puppet masters. Forget fiction. Nature's already got zombies, and they're weirder than anything Hollywood could dream up. Meet Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, the zombie ant fungus. This tiny terror infects an ant, hijacks its brain, and turns it into a puppet. Here's how it works. The fungus invades the ant's body, spreading through its muscles and nervous system. It forces the ant to leave its colony, climb a plant, and lock its jaws onto a leaf in a death grip. Then the ant just waits. The fungus grows, eventually bursting out of the ant's head to rain spores, but it's not calling the shots. It's a fungal slave. And it's not just ants. There's Toxoplasma gondii, a parasite that's probably chilling in your cat's litter box right now. It infects rodents and rewires their brains, making them less afraid of cats, sometimes even attracted to them. Why? Because Toxoplasma needs to get inside a cat to complete its life cycle. Infected rodents get eaten, the parasite wins, and the cycle continues. Humans can catch Toxoplasma too. About a third of us have it. It's usually harmless, but some studies suggest it might subtly tweak our behaviour, like making us more impulsive or risk-prone. Not zombie-level stuff, but it's a start. Then there's rabies, the OG zombie virus. It spreads through bites, causes aggression, confusion, and even hydrophobia, fear of water. Infected dogs or bats turn violent, biting anything that moves. It's slow to kill, giving it time to spread, and it messes with the brain in a way that feels eerily zombie-like. These examples prove nature can hack behaviour. But could something push humans to the extreme? Mindless, aggressive, flesh-hungry. To figure that out, we need to peek inside our skulls. Zombies have a distinct vibe. They're aggressive, they don't think, and they're always hungry. What would need to happen in our brains to make us act like that? Let's start with aggression. The amygdala is your brain's panic button. It handles fear and rage. If it's overactive, you get uncontrollable anger. There's a rare condition called intermittent explosive disorder, where people lash out violently over nothing. Not zombies, but it shows how the amygdala can flip a switch. Next, higher thinking. The prefrontal cortex is your CEO. It controls planning, impulse control, and social skills. Damage it, and you're impulsive, reckless, even aggressive. Look at Phineas Gage. He survived a railroad spike through his skull in 1848, but his personality flipped from calm to volatile. Again, not a zombie, but closer. Then there's memory and awareness. The hippocampus and surrounding areas. Zombies don't seem to recognize people or remember much. Severe damage here, like in advanced Alzheimer's, can strip away identity and context, leaving someone disoriented and reactive. Now hunger. The hypothalamus regulates appetite. If it's hijacked, you could get an insatiable drive to eat. There's a condition called Prader-Willi syndrome, where people feel constant hunger, sometimes eating inedible things. Combine that with aggression and no impulse control, and you're in zombie territory. But here's the rub. No single disease hits all these spots perfectly. Rabies gets close, aggression and brain damage, but victims don't crave flesh. Encephalitis. Brain inflammation from viruses like herpes can cause confusion and personality shifts, but it's not contagious enough. A zombie pathogen would need surgical precision to rewire us just right without killing us outright. So the brain's a tough nut to crack. Nature's got the tools, but stitching them into a zombie blueprint, that's a tall order. Still, let's say it happens. How would it spread? In zombie flicks, the apocalypse kicks off fast. One bite, then two, then hordes. But could that happen in real life? Let's talk outbreaks. Epidemiologists use something called the R0 value, the average number of people one infected person infects. Flu's R0 is about 1.3, COVID-19's is 2 to 3, measles is a scary 12 to 18. For a zombie virus to go apocalyptic, it'd need a high R0, say 10 or more, and a short incubation period. If you turn in hours, not days, containment gets dicey. Transmission matters too. Bites are dramatic but slow. Rabies spreads that way, and it's not a pandemic. But if the virus makes you bite compulsively, like a rabid dog on steroids, that ups the ante. Add airborne spread, like a sneeze turning your neighbour into a zombie, and we're in nightmare territory. Timing's key. If the virus kills too fast, it burns out. Think Ebola, deadly but containable. If it keeps you alive and infectious like HIV, it's got legs. A zombie virus would need to balance, turn you quick, keep you moving, and spread like wildfire. But humans aren't pushovers. We'd fight back. Guns, quarantines, hazmat suits. Zombies aren't smart. They'd stumble into traps or starve. The CDC even has a zombie preparedness guide. Yes, it's real, Google it. So an apocalypse? Possible, but we'd give it a run for its money. Let's get physical. How does a zombie's body work? In fiction, they don't eat, sleep, or breathe. They just go. But biology's not that forgiving. If they're alive but infected, they'd need food, water, oxygen, basics. If they're undead, it's trickier. Dead bodies don't circulate blood, so muscles seize up. Organs rot and decay sets in. Without energy, movement's impossible. Even if a virus kept them going, they'd fall apart fast. It's iconic, but brains aren't some superfood. Flesh or muscle would do. Maybe it's psychological, a virus driving them to attack the head. And stamina? Some parasites boost host endurance, but a dead body running marathons? That's a stretch. So zombie physiology's a bust. Alive or dead, they'd hit a wall. But there's one last piece. Why are we obsessed with them? Zombies are everywhere. Movies, games, even Halloween. Why? They're fear wrapped in fun. Pandemics, chaos, losing yourself. Zombies hit our primal buttons. They're a mirror for society's anxieties, from disease to division. Biologically, we're wired to notice threats. Zombies are death and danger rolled into one. Plus, they spark survival fantasies. Who hasn't planned their zombie escape route? It's a game we play in our heads. Zombies connect us through fear, thrill, and what if. But could they leap from fantasy to reality? Here's the bottom line. Undead zombies rising from graves? Nope. Science says decay wins, but a living infected zombie? Closer. Nature's got mind-bending tricks, and a freak pathogen isn't impossible. It'd need to be fast, contagious, and brain-altering, but we'd fight it tooth and nail. So no apocalypse today. But the biology's wild enough to keep you wondering. What do you think? Could zombies shamble into reality? That's it for today. Like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Are zombies possible, or just a killer story? Stay curious and maybe stock up on canned goods. See you next time.